Jason Lejeune from Gridiron Football. We're here at St. Thomas More for our third annual Gridiron Football Media Day. I'm here with Sacred Heart head football coach Jacob Aguillard. Coach, always a pleasure catching up with you, especially right before football season, getting ready to kick off and everything. And Coach, so let's just talk about, first of all, last year. Last year was a good year for y'all, a winning season, made the playoffs. So talk about last year as we go into this year.
Yeah, I thought since I started Sacred Heart, we took a step up last year. Obviously it's the last 2 years, it was our best one. But the kids know that we're not going to settle for average. We're going to keep working towards, we have a set goal, and that's to win, go 1-0 every week. And, whatever happens at the end of the year, what the record looks like is what it looks like. But I like the group of guys that we have. They're team-oriented. They're selfless, which is great. And I think that, the standard that the seniors the last couple of years have set is going to help propel us into what we'll do this season.
Sure. Like you said, you're getting better and better each and every year going to year 3. And what's basically the expectations and what do you think about this group in 2025?
Well, this group, I'll say it's our most complete group that we've had in terms of guys that have been within the program and that haven't quit, or guys that quit and came back. We dealt with a lot of, more turnover than we'd like to the last couple of years, and that's fine within that transition period. But this is the most consistent group that we've had, and like I said, we work out all year long from the time we step foot on campus the first day of school until through the end of summer. So these guys, like I said, majority have been in the program at least 2 years. The seniors have been almost 3 years. So, like I said, being that they're so consistent, a lot of times when you have the consistency and the discipline built in, those wins end up following that.
Well, you decided to bring 3 guys with you today to our Gridiron Football Media Day. Tell me about these 3 guys and why you decided that they should be the 3 representing the Trojans.
Yeah, well, Sam and Ashton Duos are both 3-year starters. Sam's the offensive and defensive lineman. Ashton Duos is our fullback and our running back, and he plays linebacker. Those guys have kind of been the stability part of the team since I've been here. Even as sophomores, you could tell that even though they weren't very vocal, that they led through their leadership and how they played. I brought Ellis. Ellis is our returning quarterback at starter. He suffered an injury as a sophomore that pretty much sidelined him the whole year, but he was a kid that we looked at as a sophomore that would have played the majority of the season, and he came back and played the last couple of games. But he's definitely a guy that's earned it. All 3 have worked their tail off along with all the other guys on the team, but I think those 3 guys really represent what our program is about, and I'm just excited that they can join us here today.
And Coach, talk about the offense side of the football. Tell me about the position groups and everything, just how that side of the football is really looking like.
Yeah, as far as athlete-wise, you look at the quarterback, running back, receiver, and tight end spot, I think we return a lot of experience. Those guys that have played on the Friday nights and that have succeeded on Friday nights. On the offensive line, we do lose a good bit. We are going to be young on the offensive line, but I always say, we're young, but we're talented. So you never really know until the lights come on how those guys are going to really step up. But I will say, I always go back to this group being so consistent in what they do and just working hard day in and day out. It would be a shock to me if that group would be a weakness. I think that offensive line group has potential to be a special group for us.
Okay, and defensively, obviously, offense is great and all, but defense, you definitely need that to win a lot of games. So how's that side of the football looking?
Yeah, it's the same thing. We return our 2 safeties that both played as sophomores last year. So you return 2 guys that'll be juniors in the secondary, along with a senior and another junior that have some playing time. It's a group that's continued to improve with 7-on-7 over the summer. It is our least experienced group. Our linebacking core is experienced. We return Ashton Duos and we return Drew Mayu from last year. Wyatt Perry is going to be back. He tore his ACL beginning of last year, so he was sidelined, but he would have been a starter for us. So we're definitely thankful for those 3 guys. And then you look at the defensive line, being a small 1A school, you have to have guys that go both ways, but we've been really fortunate in that you have what I call a tweener, those guys that don't have a lineman body, but maybe aren't that skill guy that can play those positions that, we have Rylan Swallow, who played a little bit last year as a sophomore, who's going to be really good for us. Landon Fonto is going to be a sophomore for us. He started as a freshman for us last year. He'll play the other defensive end spot. And, both guys, they can drop in the flat. They can be very versatile. They're both super strong. So we're excited about the exterior of the defensive line. But then you look at the interior with Lane Jobert and Sam LaFleur and Ashton Boney and Alex Clark, and you return all those guys that there's really a lot to be excited about. And like I said, I go back to just being so consistent and disciplined in what they do and what we do, that it's really an exciting group.
Absolutely, Coach. Let's talk about the upcoming schedule. Why should we be talk about some teams that will be playing this year, non-district and district?
So we got our non-district schedule is Oakdale, Pine Prairie, Basile, and Bolton, and then our district, similar to last year with You have St. Ed's, Opelousas Catholic, Westminster, North Central, Catholic Point-Comte, Birchman. Like, I will say,
it's an underrated district.
It is. It's a very. I think it's one of the best districts in 1A, and not just because like those guys have athletes, like they have really good football players, but man, the coaches. Like, you watch film and you watch how these guys coach, and you end up learning a lot about them, and you learn a lot about yourself. And I think that we have some of the best coaches in the state that are in our district, and it's just really fun to like go and compete against those guys week in and week out. I mean, you look at the playoffs, like when the playoff bracket comes out and you start counting teams from district, we'll have 5 teams in there, and those teams are moving on to the second round, some even the quarterfinals. So like, we have a ton of respect for the teams in our district. Like, you know, we know that they're going to bring it every Friday night, and you got to be prepared. You know, so it's like a little SEC with our district.
Yeah.
Like, you got to bring it week in and week out.
Absolutely, Coach. And to wrap things up, just get the fans excited about the upcoming season, why they should be excited to see y'all week in and week out.
Well, these guys have worked so hard, and I tell them, like, if we lose a game, we're not upset. You know, we're upset because we lost, but when you see these guys work day in and day out, and they bring it every day, and they don't have that success at the end of the week, you know, that hurts. So, like I said, you know, these guys work hard. They deserve to have you in the stands, to have you come out and support them, and support all high school teams. Whether you're a Sacred Heart fan or any fan of anywhere else, like, go support your kids, go support your coaches. I promise you, they're all putting the work in to be the best that they can be, and they're an investment. Like, look at these as an investment back into the community, that these kids one day are going to be in your shoes. So just support high school athletics.
Absolutely, Coach, and I appreciate your support for the bowl game and everything that we do too. And then
Yes,
here's
sir.
a free magazine on us.
Oh,
and
thank you, man.
next magazine, we'll have a lot about the Sacred Heart Trojans. In fact, we have an in-depth season preview. So for all the Sacred Heart Ville Platte fans, make sure to go and pre-order your magazine copy. We have an in-depth season preview on your Trojans, so make sure to order your copy. It'll be right before football season. Get your football fix. GridironFootballUSA.com.